You're listening to the Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinko.
Yep, that's all. That's all. He on a break. We're on a break right now.
Email, sir. We live. You go
Your link.
We apologize for the late start of tonight's episode. This is Progressive Minds. My name is Anna, aka Alinko, and we apologize for the background noise, but today is September 15th, 2021. We are very excited to be bringing you another episode which is in regards to the diaspora, specifically the Liberian diaspora. This one has been dubbed the Liberian Diaspora Elections. We talking to kingmakers. Back here, we'll be talking to the kingmakers, the ad hoc committee members, or the ad hoc team that runs the Liberian Diaspora Commission, or the Liberian Diaspora Association. The initial attempt was to be able to get the entire leadership to set a tone for the candidates who are vying for position on Saturday. But we had to make some adjustment due to last minute changes. And so we're going to have, we have Artemis and Lester, who has been on the show before. We will get into that conversation with us. We are not able to get Captain Mike's segment this evening due to busy work schedules for Captain Mike. So please bear with us as we begin the show this evening. I would like to introduce my guests right away, but so they are here. I have Adamos Gay and Dr. Adamos Gay and Jay Lester Chipo. They have been on the show before, and so this is I apologize. I think that today is one of those days where you get these technical issues. Once again, I wanted to make sure that we get it right. Please bear with me. I need to mute the mic so that we can reduce the feedbacks. So please bear with me. I would get it back out. Today being September 15th, 2021, the Progressive Mind Show is excited to be bringing you another episode. This past Sunday, we had a very intriguing conversation regarding the diaspora, which is dual citizenship. That conversation went very, very well. We are looking forward to hosting the Director of Diaspora Affairs in the Office of the President Ghana again on the show, Mr. Iwa Abebio, and Dallas, aka Dallas. But today it's all about the Liberian community in the United States. So I'd like to say welcome again to the Progressive Mind Show. And we are actually honored to have this distinguished gentleman who have been on the show before. As I stated earlier, they will be discussing the upcoming Liberia Diaspora elections, which is this coming Saturday. The Liberia Diaspora, like any other union of diasporans, are growing and expanding. It also, as any other union, have had their fair of challenges. And today we will be discussing individuals and the candidates who we'll be talking to the candidates later in the show who will be running for office this Saturday. We'll also delve into some of the challenges that has encountered that the Diaspora Union of Liberia have encountered. So specifically the Liberian community, we want to look at some of the challenges that the Liberian community have encountered in the Americas. We hope to bring you a very interesting conversation this evening. And so we are encouraging you all to share the feed and be part of this one. Let me introduce my guest, Dr. Adamos Gay, PhD, Dr. Adamos Gay of Loyola University. We also have J. Lester Chipo Jr. My brothers, I was going to address Lester. Welcome again to this episode, and I'm glad that you're able to make it. Dr. Artemis, give us an update. We want to know how the community is faring so far, the Liberian community in general in the United States.
you've been a wonderful partner with us, and that means you've been a wonderful partner with Africa's oldest independent nation. Well, it's not Ghana, it's Liberia.
Yes.
1847.
You're right.
And so that history, we got to keep teaching all our students in Africa to know this history. So we are excited that the oldest African diaspora in the United States will converge in this weekend in Columbus, Ohio, and we will be electing the head or the leadership structure of the Liberian Association in these America under the acronym ULA, United Liberian Association of the Americas. So we're excited. We have our challenges, but it's good. All the campaigns are actively doing what they have to do. They're on various platforms on the net. But I thought, you being our partner, we should come here to share this message, because for me, like the history of Liberia was for all of Africa. So I'm excited that we are here to make it happen. So, and I have Lester.
Yeah,
And
Lester, this one was a surprise. Glad to have you back again.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right.
I'm honored to also be on your platform. This one of the unique platform in Africa, most especially in West Africa. I religiously follow you through YouTube, and I want to say thanks for the educations. I want to say thanks for the information disseminations. We want to say thanks also for getting us here today. I'm overwhelmed. I'm happy, and I hope that we will always have these exchanges of intellectual discourse.
My pleasure, brother, and I'm very excited to be seeing you again.
Great.
We have another guest. Okay, I think we would get him later on the show, but before that, we will.
1 second. Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, so Lester, tell us
Yeah.
the role you play within the framework of the Liberian diaspora in the United States.
Basically, the Liberian diaspora in the United States, they are doing wonderfully well in terms of development in Africa, most especially our country, Liberia. They contribute to the economy. They are very, very together. They're making sure that we can have a good governance system, and to see exactly how Liberia can be reunified. And it was a very good thing for me to understand that they today form a union and to have a leadership that can be able to have a very, very, very good standing in our country, and not just Liberia, but in Africa, making sure that Africa can be great, Liberia can be great, and we all can be together. It's a good thing. It's wonderful. And we want to say good to Dr. Optimus Gay for his magnificent work, his collaborations with other people.
Yeah.
We want to tell him thank you, and every other person who thought it wise to making Africa great and Liberia. We are contributing to the welfare and the forward march of our democracy. We want to say thanks to them, and it is a good thing. So I also want to say thanks for having us.
All right, my pleasure. And this should be very interesting because, to be honest, I've been working with Dr. Artemis, as he mentioned earlier. On a lot of community works, community projects in the city of Chicago, but I didn't actually know the existence of a large Liberian association in the United States. I just thought that, they have a group in Chicago, but I didn't know that there's a larger group, And so when we started talking about this show, I'm like, wow, it kind of opened my eyes to the understanding of a larger Liberian community in the United States, not only in Chicago. So that's very large.
Sure. conglomerations of various states within the place wherever Liberians are.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, thank you.
So not only Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Guy, how long has this association been in existence, the ULAA?
Thank you. ULAA is celebrating its 47th anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been around for 47 years.
47.
Interestingly,
yeah,
in the United States, and it will
it?
interest you to know, that most of those who were part of it ended up becoming president of Liberia or involved in the political history of Liberia for the last 47 years.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, when what happened, it became a student union. African students coming here to the U.S., meaning from Liberia.
Yeah, we want to be able to see, before you continue, we want to see, so if you can turn your computer a little low so we can see.
This?
There you go. Yes.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
go
right.
ahead. Yeah.
You're a little warm, so I'm in my little African ear. So please.
Actually, it looks like a doctor's scrub. Is it scrub they call
it?
Oh,
okay.
So I for once, you were a PhD holder, so I was confused.
Okay,
like,
you're wondering, what an MD or okay, beautiful, good. Yeah, but so the history of the of ULA began in the early 1974, 1973, 74.
Okay.
And these were students who were fortunate to come to these United States for studies. So, like young people, they want to get together, hang out. So they say, if you are at Loyola, Northwestern, and you are from you in the Chicago or Illinois belt, form a union or form a group. If you're in the Boston area at Harvard or any school in that area, Northeastern, you form a group. So it became basically a student association. And they were like, when we sit together, whether we're playing a football game or having a little party, we Africans, we always talk politics. So that's how it began. Talking about what happened in the homeland. So this group was founded as a way of young people, meaning students, gathering to discuss issues of their country. And out of that group, we have Charles Taylor, who became president of Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
Infamously, the Civil War of Liberia, we have Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who also became president. These were all members of this very group we're talking about.
Wow.
So as I said to you, it was a student group. Just like Kwame Nkrumah at Lincoln University, talking with Du Bois and other guys. It's the same formation. Wow. Yes, so that's how ULA started. But it will interest you to know that long before them, our association in Illinois is the oldest association of Liberian ever. Okay. It was founded 1951.
So the Liberian Association in Illinois is older than ULA.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So that had been in existence before whoever thought to start ULA started, or you would say that the Liberian Association in Illinois actually gave birth to ULA. Is that what it is?
I will superimpose it on the notation that yes, since most of the people who came here were students. And let me add, let me just pay homage to our former Consul General of Liberia, His Honor, the late Alexander Baye, who happened to be buried, will be burying him this weekend. And everybody who is an African in Illinois should know Alex Baye, especially the older generation. This man served as our Consul General when there were no African country ever in Africa besides Liberia.
You mean, oh, okay, wait, there was no African country in Africa?
Yes, besides Liberia. Yeah.
African continent has always existed.
The continent existed, but there were no independent nation.
Oh, so before
Gold Coast, you were from the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
The French West Africa.
Yeah.
We had South Africa, but they were not independent. It was only Liberia, because Liberia got its independence in 1847. Ethiopia, as a nation, never had independence through any colonial structure, but only Liberia was recognized in these United States
as a country.
As a country, only African country. That's why I would choose my Ghanaian.
Wow, yeah. That's deep.
Yeah. So anybody who came here from Africa in 19 or pre 1951 or pre because Africa, Ghana got its independence as the first African country out of the colonial structure. So think about it. When you came here from Ghana or from the Gold Coast or from the Elephant Coast, Ivory Coast, or from Rhodesia, who will you meet here as your leader? It will be the late Councillor Alex Bay. So so that's how it was structured. There was no other country here besides Liberia. And so the history is, during World War II, the first African woman to be brought here by an American soldier, an African-American soldier, came to Chicago.
Wow.
So I just want to just get this historic backdrop.
I'm getting that history. So that makes the Liberian community in Illinois. And so you're right. No, it makes sense now when you say the Liberian community in Illinois was the first ever African community in Illinois, right? And it actually, I would say, like you said, you would agree with me that it gave birth to ULA, the union, because from that sprang up other unions in other states, and then
other chapters.
Right. Wow, that's powerful. Wow. Chicago is a beautiful city. It was voted the second most beautiful city in the world, and it's also known that it's also known as its great organization, right? Great men and women, great leaders of the world have started their political lives here in the city of Chicago, notably the Obamas, right? And so we know that Chicago has a very solid history, and Africans in Chicago have played their part in the history of Chicago. And so we are excited, and we are always proud that, and let me say this, that we give a lot of respect, we honor those folks who started stuff like, Liberian Union in Illinois, African associations, other African countries, Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, all these African communities, and even the Caribbean communities that have come to Chicago and started something that has given birth to, that has actually improved on the relationship of Africans in Chicago and the diaspora in general. We just want to say kudos to them. We honor and respect the work that they have done, so that some of us can also continue from where they left off. And so thank you so much, Artemis Guy, for keep putting this in perspective. The relevance, the importance, the role that Liberia has played when you talk about Black diaspora and diaspora today, because diaspora is on the lips of everybody now, right? Everybody's talking about African diaspora, Black diaspora, but it's good to understand some of the foundation of all of this. And so this actually sets us up, right? It sets us up for what is to come on Saturday. But before we go into that, give us the structure of the ULAA, the Union of Liberians Association in America, of the Americas, right? How is it structured? Is there a president, board of directors? Go ahead and give us how it's structured.
Yes, thank you. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, the leadership.
It's structured pretty much as the executive and the board of directors.
Okay.
It also has a kind of structure of a national leadership council, and the national leadership council is made out of independent organization or states or chapters, as we call them. Illinois is part of the NLC, the National Leadership Council, and its president will represent, all presidents will represent them at the NLC, the National Leadership Council. So that makes me part of the NLC. That makes the next person in Indiana part of the structure. So basically, it's the same way United States runs its government. So we follow the same model. Yeah, and then but what happened is we have convention, just like the way every state is entitled to 2 senators. So every state or chapter has 40 delegates towards the convention.
Okay.
We just cut it across the board. Whether you are a small place or just started today, it's that same number of, or that will represent you at a election process. So we have 50 delegates towards the conference on Saturday, even though we have some issues that we are dealing with. Yeah, so that is structure. And then if you rally your troop based on the campaign, the SHIWOH campaign or the KEAR campaign, if you can rally your troop and they can get there. And like Illinois, we don't do what we call block voting. We open ourselves so that the two camps can talk to our people and share their platform, so that democracy becomes decentralized and everyone has the information. So that's how we do. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do on Saturday.
Okay.
So far, right now, that about 18 chapters that have been certified to contest or to vote in these elections on Saturday. So we will be in there, and these delegates will get there and decide who will lead them for the next 2 years.
And you said Ohio, right? If I heard it correctly.
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Lester, you want to add your voice to what Dr. Artemus Gay just informed us on, which is the structure, the makeup of the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas?
Basically, Dr. Gay has said it well. He said it all. That is the structure. I can only buttress by the unifications or part of it that brings all Liberians together, because what it does is that it makes us to get to know each other. It gives us a direct picture as to what to do, project or opportunity we will want to extend out to Africa. And you understand, based on the unity, that the existing unity, we can be able to do a bigger one. We can be able to help every other person, Liberians, that it's not just particular to Liberia, okay? We're looking at Africa as a whole, because in generality, Africans, we are all the same. When it comes to our togetherness, it comes to culture, everything basically is the same. It's not more different. And more Liberians also in other African countries. So we try to unify this thing and extend and ask every person to come on board. So though that the mother unit is from the US, but they are going to decentralize it. They're going to be decentralized.
And this is where I for the layman's understanding, if you say you decentralizing, decentralization is decentralization as we all know it. But would it be any different? And let me put it this way. If you talk about decentralization of a ULA structure, how exactly is it going to look like? Dr. Artemus Gay, I'm sorry, I had you on mute because there was the background noise, but you can speak now.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, you control every time. That's good. Yeah, it's good because I'm part of that process of this remaking of the union, and I say this because I am playing a dual role here tonight. For example, it's the first. I am the head of the Illinois group. But because of some issues, I was brought within the electoral process as the vice chair of the election commission. I think you got a beautiful flyer done for us, and that shows the level of integrity we've been able to earn over the years. So what that has done, we are actually at a point, at a crossroad that, and it's the only African country, again, sorry for me boasting about Liberia, and Liberia is everybody's country, because why? That was the formation. Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean, everybody who came from the West African coast were brought over to form a country. That's why it's called Liberia. But here is it. This is the 200th anniversary of the formation of Liberia, or the first African country that came out of slavery. So here we are thinking that we have come here, some of us came here as refugees. And then we're looking at Africa's first independent nation, Liberia, have to rethink, what have we done? Well, how do we organize or reorganize the diaspora? Mind you, Liberia diaspora contributes more or almost the same percentage as the national budget of Liberia. Think about this.
Wow.
What I remit, what Lester's nephew or nieces remit from the States, what my dad who is here, what my pastor and family friend, Dr. Kofi Nono and Sis Nettie Nono, Eunice Nono sent home to their Liberian side of the family. You see, just to get out here, the Nonos are very unique for Liberian history because they show what it means not to be only American, but to be Liberian and also Ghanaian.
So which part of them is from Liberia?
I will leave that for the progressive mind to take a test on that. But yes,
to investigate.
Exactly. So you know, usually remittance is a big issue.
It's huge. The
continent,
to the African economy.
Yeah, to our economy. And with all the Liberian diaspora remittances, there will be no Liberia. I mean it, because we have one of the smallest budget in the African continent. Sad to say. And sadly, our lawmakers, our executive, the president, and the justices make the same amount of salary as that of the United States, the richest nation on earth. Isn't that an oxymoron?
The president of Liberia takes home the same salary as the president of the United States.
Yes. Our lawmakers, the same thing, make the same amount. Yet, United States is the richest country on earth. Liberia is the third poorest country on earth.
With a very tiny national budget.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So wow, that's very profound. That's very profound. So Lester, you were going to say something. Lester, were you about to say something?
No, exactly what he said. What he's saying is true. The budget is very small. What the book people call, the English people call infinitesimal, inconsequential. But you won't believe that government official salary is very high. The lawmaker, which is our legislators, they make huge salary. They give unto themselves huge allowances. Like just quite recently, a month ago or a month plus ago, they gave unto themselves 30,000 each. And they just passed a new budget of 25,000 each again for this month. So you think about it though. So people, they don't look at the typical Liberian, the less fortunate people. You don't look at that.
So
we are suffering. We are currently suffering in Liberia.
Yeah.
The health system is very poor. The educational system is very poor. You understand?
Yeah.
And no good road infrastructure, nothing. And you won't imagine to see that people take onto themselves huge budget and they don't have anything put in there for teachers, for medical staff, for nobody. So basically, I can tell you, basically 85% of Liberian depends on the diaspora, on their family in the diaspora.
Wow.
And the remittance is why getting the economy running with other donors funding.
That is very profound again to hear. Would you say that what the argument or what you just said is justifiable because Liberia in itself, that Liberia as a country itself was founded by the diasporans, right? It was founded by African Americans. So if they are the ones supporting the country till now, at the end of the day, if you're saying 85% of the people in Liberia are being supported and are surviving through the remittances from the Liberian diaspora. Someone will say, well, it makes sense. If African Americans founded that country, and the people in this country, the same people are supporting and helping it grow, or supporting it, its sustenance and its growth, it makes sense.
No,
do you agree to that argument?
On the other hand, I said yes. On the other hand, I said no, because most of the African country have their colonial masters. Okay. Today they are independent. Mm-hmm. They sustain themselves. You know how Ghana came to prominence, how Ghana managed to get independent, get to prominence. Mm-hmm. All right?
Yeah.
Good. Today, Ghana is almost self-sufficient, self-reliant, almost. I've been to Ghana, Sarah, all the time. Okay? Now, to get Liberia to get on par with other African countries, Liberia, our leadership need to look at the private sector, more especially smaller businesses. Today, the private sector has crumbled. Smaller businesses is no longer, has been demolished. How? So every person focus to the government. Government must provide job. Government cannot take everybody, cannot absorb every person. One. Two, the budget is also small, very infinitesimal. It cannot also pay every person. Okay? So if government need to cut down costs, it actually need to cut down on its spending and on salary and other things.
Wow. You were sharing and you're making very important points, and thank you so much. It's giving all of us insights to what we didn't know about Liberia. Usually, go ahead.
The progressive mind, let's be frank, okay? Mm-hmm. I know you might be playing the devil advocates, but understand, yeah. Even government official is glaring. Mm-hmm. Even our government official, when they have headache, where do they run?
Yeah, they come to the United States, they go to Europe.
Europe or Ghana, right close to us. Okay. You know that. Yeah. You do your own research and check and see the amount of pressing government official that runs to Ghana, the amount of Liberians that run to Ghana on a daily basis for medications. So you want to tell us that probably we cannot improve our medical sector? We should, owing to the fact that huge amount of money has been given out. If these people can just reduce their money and take pocket of that money to revamp the health sector, that could be good. Government spent 1 point some more million this gone time because they just shared 30,000 among themselves.
You said
30,000 that's shared among themselves. If that 30,000 could go towards the educational sector, trust me, the University of Liberia today will not have rioting all over. Students will not be rioting about e-learning. Students will not be rioting about a lot of other things. If that money, portion of that money could have gone to the health sector, today you will not have medical staff or practitioners protesting while abandoning their job while patients are in hospitals on their sick bed. You will not have that. So we want to say bravo to our diaspora or family that are doing magnificent well to be able to keep the hope. Because once you have hope, the possibility of surviving is high because you have.
That's hope.
You understand?
Yeah.
So they are keeping the hope. It's not the governance system that is keeping the hope. No. And to have it interactive, to have other people coming in, you must be able to open the private sector. Once the private sector has been demolished, you understand that every person today will barely go or sleep hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I today talking that some families since God broke they haven't eaten. They just drank water to sleep. At this dispensation, Liberia, in Africa called small America, this shouldn't be happening in Liberia. Okay? Like the previous government, what they did, they were not 100%, but they were building a middle-class society. The previous government, Manasali, were building a middle-class society. Today, you only have the elite and the poor. You think about it, though. The economy is crumbling. So we give bravo to our diaspora people because they are the ones that are keeping us alive, keeping the country alive. And until this government can be able to look into the private sector, can be able to forget about triviality, can be able to forget about envy and pettiness, trust me, we will not make progress. Until they leave that, then Liberia can move forward. You just saw what happens to us. You know how much money Dr. Optimus gave and the association put in to pay for us to get to China to even convince partner. You know what it takes to convince a single partner or an investor to sway their mind?
Yeah.
You are talk show host.
Yeah.
You into journalism. You have a money. Then I came to you and tell you, say, bro, this is your money you have. Instead of building a state-of-an-art institution, journalism institution in Ghana, I beg you, I want you to take it to my country. You know what I take?
Yeah.
To be able to convince you?
Yeah.
Because you will be looking at all of the ramifications surrounding it. You'll be looking at all of the ripple effects. So to convince you to take your investment and bring it to my place, it's not a joking thing. Then finally you got agreed and came to Liberia. And before coming, we all discussed with government and government consented. And upon arrival, someone tells you, you need to give me 50% share or you need to give me this amount. If not, you won't work. You think about it. You think the sector will expand? No. The sector will not expand.
Yeah. Well, no, my brother, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. These are the reasons why we do what we do, to bring to light some of the issues that's going on in some African countries. And I really appreciate you opening up. I feel the passion. Dr. Atimus Gay, what do you have to say to what Lester just shared? Now, before I do that, we'll take a short break. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Alinko, and we are going to go on this quick break and introduce. When we come back, we'll be introducing our guests, the other guests, who will be talking on behalf of the front runners for the elections coming up this Saturday. Please stay tuned. We shall be right back.
There is a cry. Aglo Bolingbrook Lighthouse is a network of caring women. We are a dynamic global movement with a single mission to see God's purpose fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Our mandate is every nation touched and every heart changed for God. We invite you to our prayer meeting every Saturday and breakfast meeting held every last Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. via Zoom meeting. For more information, please contact Dickness Rebecca Modi at 630-297-1471 or Reverend George Ofe Ado, our advisor, at 630-414-9505. We look forward to having a refreshing time with you in the Lord. Thank you and stay blessed.
There's a cry in my heart.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Progressive Minds. My name is Alinko, and we are talking about the Liberian Diaspora elections coming up this Saturday. Please pay attention to that. It's just this Saturday, the oldest African Diaspora Association in the United States will be electing their next leader. Very, very important. Dr. Artemus Gay was just giving us the background of ULAA, Union of Liberia, Liberian Association in the Americas. They have been here, in the country in existence for a long time. They have contributed to the society and the economy of America. And according to Lester, who is a prominent person, a co-founder and CEO of what's the name of it's the fishing? I know it's the fishing.
The Gulf of Guinea Fishing Agency.
Yeah. Yes, the Gulf of Guinea Fishing Agency in Liberia, is telling us that the diaspora, the Liberian diaspora, contributes or is responsible for about 85% of the survival and living standards of the Liberian people in Liberia. That is the Liberian diaspora in the United States is responsible or contributes to 85%, contributes to the well-being and livelihood of 85 or at least 85% of the people of Liberia. Now, don't hold me to that number. He's the one that's saying it.
Alinko. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying it.
Yeah.
It backs by facts and data.
Okay. Good. He's
Check
just
the remittance.
So, good. Even better, right? That this is a fact. All we are saying is that the relevance of the Liberian Association in the United States cannot be underestimated. It's a very powerful group, very powerful organization. And what they're about to do on Saturday is very, very important. And that's why we want to host them and talk about it. We want to understand the back end of this organization. The leaders or the front runners, also the candidates, will not be able to, are not present at this moment, but they have their, I'll say speakers, no, not speakers, spokespersons who will be talking on their behalf. It's going to be interesting. When your spokesman is speaking for you, it's as though you are speaking for yourself. And so please indulge us as we engage these folks. Before we go to them, though, I would want to help share the feed, okay? Because what we're doing is building our community. And so you may not be on the show talking, but by you sharing the feed, right, you are encouraging and you are helping to make our community and society a better place. So please be part of the conversation. Share it on Facebook and on YouTube, wherever you're watching. And we are also live on Twitter. This show is being carried live by My Star radio station in the East Coast. My Star Radio is a Pan-African radio station in the East Coast area. So, gentlemen, let me, Dr. Artemus Gay, let's start passionately. You heard him. You heard him. Anything you want to add to that before we go to James and Siri?
Yeah, like I was saying, okay.
Well, I wanted to get
done with that.
Yeah,
to get done with that, the leadership which we have to change their style of leadership, of leading. They'll have to change that. They have to open the private sector. You understand? They have to make it inclusive. They have to give other Liberians chance to equally participate. Every person cannot be a part of a government or a part of a particular organization. Look, let me just say this to you. It's not that Lester is saying it. Probably I can screenshot and show you something and send it to you to see. If you just check, I don't know whether you're seeing this, but if you check there, you see what the ambassador said when we went to negotiate in China for the vessels to even come to Africa, most especially Liberia. You see what the ambassador Liberian fishing resources are okay, but the fishing environment policy is too poor. Artificial blackmailing is too strong. He didn't just talk about blackmailing. It's not just but artificial blackmailing for no reasons. You are being blackmailed because you're not in certain locale, you're not affiliated with certain things. That doesn't work. If that is up, continue, Liberia, it's draining down.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the entire country will start to rest on the shoulder of the diaspora.
Mm. Mm.
And that is not funny.
It is not funny. It's not
It's
funny.
not funny.
Yeah, it is not funny. Dr. Atimosge, would you like to add anything to that and connected to the
Yes.
the union here?
Thank you. I'm so glad that I have the two camps here. And if you guys had not shown up, I was going to get angry with you too. But I'm so happy for Carter, for SHIWOH, because you show the respect for democracy, especially the localization of democracy. So all I want to add here, as we celebrate Liberia Bicentennial for the 1815 campaign, this is important for the union. And that's why I did all that we could get this show to be done. The reality is the diaspora needs the homeland and the homeland needs the diaspora. We wonder why are the Jewish so powerful? The Jewish are powerful because it respects its diaspora association outside of Israel. The Arab community the same. So the image, I will respect you, Sina, because you know what? Ghana is basically taking a playbook of Liberia history, embracing the diaspora. Ghana has become the first African country to tell its kith and kin, African American community, you too can be a dual citizen and come and own properties here, and can participate in a political, social, economic aspect of our country. For that, Ghana, you show that the name Ghana means so much to me too, the Black Star. So yes, I would love to hear from these two camps how, as my brother Lester will say, can you participate in the economic revival of our country so that I don't have to come to Liberia and work only for government in order to be able to make my livelihood, but I can do and bring all of my resources to help my young brother and sister on the ground, and I also expect the same from them too. So I'm excited tonight to hear from the two camps.
Thank you for setting the tone for us. We couldn't have had it any better than this. I like the passion. If you're watching us, this is the Progressive Mind Show. We're here every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. CST. And on Sundays, we have what we call Finding the Balance. This is where we connect the diaspora and Africa. Remember that we build our community. We're trying to change mindsets in the diaspora and on the continent. My name is Alinko again. And Mr. James, please keep your video on. Okay, so we are live now. And thank you so much. And if you don't mind stepping back a little bit, James, if you step back a little bit from your camera, that would help us a lot. Awesome. And this is good. So we want to now talk to the candidates who are at the front lines, trying to steer the ULLA, the oldest African union in the United States, to African Diaspora Union in the Association in the United States, to a place where it can even make more impact than it has done in the past. Mr. Zizi Goya, you are representing the Carter. No, okay, that is the SHIWOH MINERVA campaign.
Yeah, we both are here representing the SHIWOH Kamara and MINERVA Grant team.
Excellent, thank you. That's the information that I got exactly from Henry. So thanks for the correction. He gave me the right information, and you will do the right thing. We had another person on here, but unfortunately, that person dropped out. I was suspecting that probably would have been the camp of Carter and Wilson camp. But we have you here. Please take a moment to introduce yourself, Mr. Zizi Goya, personally. Who are you?
Well, I appreciate you, first of all, my brother Alinko. This is a great platform, and I appreciate the sub-region taking interest in what happens in member states. So from a fellow ECOWAS member to you, I say thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Zizi Goya. My daytime job is I am a licensed secondary math teacher here in the state of Minnesota. And I also teach community college during the summer months as a math teacher. I am also a community leader here. I am a member of the board of directors of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota, which is the organization that represents 40,000 strong Liberians in the state of Minnesota. I've also most recently I contested U.S. elections. I ran for a seat on the city council of the city of Brooklyn Center here in Minnesota. And so, in a nutshell, that's me. I am married. I have my wife and family, and we live in Minnesota.
Thank you. That was very powerful. Can we have James? James, please go ahead. Let our audience know a little bit about you.
Thank you, Alinko. My name is James Coyen. I live in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm here representing the SHIWOH grant campaign. We've come to sell our agenda to the community. It's good that you can have us here. Basically, my daytime job is I'm an accountant. I work for the Bank of New York. And I represent the people of Loufa County from Liberia as his national president in the Americas. More or less, that's it. Let's hope that we can have a fruitful discussion here, selling our agenda. But let me also add that before the commence of the discussion, I listened to your guest backstage, Mr. Lester Chipo. I believe he provided some of. We're not discussing Liberian politics, but what I eavesdrop is good that he tried to get his research together and get some of the facts lay out here when he come on these kind of shows. Got to represent the image of a country that I come from, and it pleases me if I hear message from each other about the country that I visit every year.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah. Thanks for sharing. You wanted to say something real quick, Lester?
Yeah. To James. Basically, I didn't come on this platform to discuss politics, okay? But when we are discussing issues, sometimes people little basis. We were talking about the economy, about the country, how it works, and how the diaspora makes a lot of contribution to us here in Liberia, particularly Africa, particularly Liberia. Okay, so we were not, and I said to have it more independent, to have people to have the will to do some things is that the government must be able to open the private sector, most especially allow businesses, smaller businesses, to remain afloat. If not, we will continue to live on the diaspora.
Okay, so I allow Lester to respond because I'm sorry. I think James, I don't know if you were saying something, but you were muted. So just let's FYI, okay? You were muted. I didn't mute you, but you muted yourself. So just let you know. Again, I allow Lester to respond to it because you made a point that was directly in connection to the statements that he made, and you of course referenced him. So it's fair that he responded. But I just want to say this: we all need to heal ourselves as Africans. We have gone through a lot as a people, as a result of no fault of ours. And so what we're dealing with and what we are struggling to come out of is huge, is beyond us, but it's not within our power as a people to try to make change. And so we may have diverse views on issues, but it's all in the good of the people that we love and the countries that we love and the continent that we love so much. And so I just want to encourage all of us to take these as they come, and let's try and have objective views and have a decorum, again, knowing that we all have one thing at heart: the betterment of the people of Africa. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Now, I do not see you guys sharing the feed, okay? So my guests, you can also share it, but more importantly, I do want our audience to share it because this conversation is very important. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. James and CZ, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Now, your candidates, SHIWOH and MINERVA. I don't know, Dr. Artemus. Later, I'd like you to inform the audience why the other candidates did not show up, because we want to be fair. We did everything to reach out to them. Yeah, go ahead before I have Zizi come in. Why?
Well, everything. No, sure. Thank you. Yeah. Well, the extension was done. I believe in freedom of choice. Yeah. So we did this, and part of what we did was this is actually beyond Yola. This is our foundation way of giving back. The bicentennial committee for Liberia. We did it extra to make sure you a Pan-Africanist and a neutral party with no attachment to any of the campaign took upon yourself to get this show done for us. So we reach out to everybody.
Okay.
So I'm fine with whoever show up to share. This is just beyond the July election. This is about also sharing about our diaspora. So some of the issues had to do with all of the discussion we're having tonight. So yes.
Yeah, sorry, I think I mistakenly kicked out Lester. Because Lester, you don't have to share. Okay, when you're sharing the feed, you don't have to share from your guests. You're supposed to be sharing from your Facebook page, and your YouTube page. That's where you share from. That way, we're not having and it was unfortunate that he kicked out. He got kicked out because he tried to share from his guest page, and I think it caused a technical glitch. But CZ, sorry, a brief background of the candidate that you're representing today.
Thank you so much. And first thing, I will be remiss if I don't recognize the work of Dr. Gay in making sure that philanthropically he can see outside of his own little circle and expand that to trying to promote Liberians, promote the sub-region. I'm trying to ensure that this conversation, intellectual exchange, it's not just limited to EULA, but that it encompasses the entire sub-region. So Dr. Gay, from one educator to you, I would say thank you. I appreciate you for that. That is all we all strive for, is to make sure that we create a marketplace where people can come and exchange talents and have an intellectual discourse so that we can move our continent, our sub-region, and our own countries forward. So I appreciate that. To your answer, my brother, I am here as a spokesperson for the team that is being led by SHIWOH Kamara and his able lieutenant, Madam Minerva Grant. You see, I'm reminded of a saying that I always use that is attributed to one of the great warriors in African history. And this is what he says. He says that I am not afraid of a pack of lions or an army of lions that is led by a sheep. I am instead more afraid of an army of sheep that is led by a lion, because leadership matters. The top models what ought to be happening from the bottom. And so I am here to speak about a man, SHIWOH Kamara, who has been involved in Liberian diaspora philanthropism and Liberian diaspora movement and activism from his days in the early 90s coming to the U.S., taking people to the capitals, making sure that he's getting involved to ensure that people's immigration statuses are changed, and showing that when somebody's cry, when a Liberian cry, that he's dead. I'm here also to talk about a lady, Minerva Grant, who has been deeply vested in EULA. She served as election commissioner. She served as a women's wing chair. She served on so many committees of EULA. As a matter of fact, she was the only sitting EULA election commissioner to have been accredited to our last elections in Liberia. And I'm also here to talk about people that are down ballot. I'm talking about the Secretary General position of Emmanuel Nangbe, who led the first Liberian women to participate in the All-World Women's Conference in China. I'm also here advocating for Alexander Bazi as Financial Secretary. I'm here advocating for Dr. Will Jala as Treasurer, and Reverend Robert Reeves as the Eastern Regional President. But above all, and not the least, is the youngest man to be running this year. It's a young brother from Columbus, Ohio, who's managed as president of the Liberian chapter in Columbus to purchase a property, real land, to be owned by Liberians, where they're now in the process of trying to raise $1 million to construct a project, a community center for Liberians. And I'm talking about Alpha Tonga. So as you can see, we're talking about a collection of people who have the lived experience, who have the earned experience and who have the learned experience to lead our noble organization, EULA, to ensure that all Liberians, whether you belong to EULA or not, that you have an organization that you'll be proud of, that you know will be in your interest and will advocate for you.
Wow, that's powerful. Do you know how long? You will know. Tell us. Let me rephrase my question. Tell us how long the SHIWOH ticket has been associated or affiliated with EULA.
So I think that when I got on, I heard Dr. Gay was articulating how EULA is made up. EULA is made out of member chapters. And so, for example, since I belong to the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota, therefore, I also belong to EULA because my organization is a dual-paying member of EULA. And so by virtue of that, SHIWOH Kamara once served as president of the Pennsylvania chapter of the Liberians in Pennsylvania. Okay. So he's been a shareholder in EULA since the early 90s.
Okay.
And the same goes for MINERVA Grant.
Okay. Now, by how long have you known them?
So, and this is going to be funny. So I've known MINERVA because we both live in Minnesota for over 10 years now.
Right.
But here's how I got to know SHIWOH. I got to know SHIWOH in 2014 or 15 when we were running. I ran for Secretary General of EULA. He was running back then as president, and he was looking for somebody that he felt he could trust, that had the lived experience to ensure that he ran as a Secretary General. He didn't know me. We didn't have any relationship, but he had seen my body of work. And he reached out to me and said, yo, man, young man, I don't know you from nowhere, but I've seen the work you've been doing. I've seen you run, you sit on OLM board. I've seen you contest U.S. elections. I've seen you present at educational conferences. I would love it if you would to come to EULA. And so that was how I got to know SHIWOH. He brought me on to the EULA stages because he recognized talent. And so we're talking about, that coach mentality. Where you know your talent, where you can go and recruit and plug talents that you know you need to make your team vibrant. So I've been knowing SHIWOH since 2014, but it feels like I've been knowing him much longer just because of their relationship that him and I have had ever since I came onto EULA stage.
That's beautiful because it's powerful what you said, how people can identify, even though you were not a direct competitor, you were somewhat. You were a competitor, not obviously not a direct competitor, but you were running for office, running for office in the same organization. But again, just drawing back to the point that you made, which is very powerful, is that a lot of times we compete against each other, and instead of identifying talent, regardless of the environment and the dynamics, to say, look, I have this, you have that. I don't have to struggle with you. I don't have to envy what you have, right? And jealous what you have, but we can put, our strengths together and then make a bigger thing out of it. That in itself is very beautiful. So I really admire you sharing that. At least we hope that someone can get inspired from that, because that as Africans, we struggle with that type of attitude, right? We do struggle with that. And so that's very beautiful to know. And is he married? Does he have family? We just want to know.
Yep. SHIWOH Kamara is married to his wife of over 20 years, and they have two daughters, and they live in Pennsylvania. So SHIWOH Kamara, like I said, he's a Christian also. He leads his church. He also is a trustee of a church organization. So he's a well-rounded guy. He right now works as a social worker, but he in Liberia he was a public school teacher.
Okay.
So he came from the public school system as a student, led public school organizations, political organizations, student leadership, and then worked for the MCSS, which is the Monrovia Consolidated School System. It's like a school district kind of stuff for Monrovia. And it's all of these public teachers that belong to that. So he was Secretary General of the Teachers Union for the public school teachers in Monrovia.
Awesome. Do you know whether he lived during the 90s era of Liberia? Do you know that? Was he in Liberia during the 90s? Zizi. Oh, James, go ahead. James, I think
was in Liberia during the 90s. So I think Mr. Kamara come to this election not as a novice. He comes to these elections knowing about institutional building, knowing about what it takes to give back to a community. And so my support for Mr. Kamara, for someone like me, I mean, I would not be in this process supporting someone like Mr. Kamara if I didn't believe in him, believe in his ideologies, believe in his platform, his 100-day platform to take the union for where it is. So that's why I'm in this process to support him. From Liberia to the United States, he has always been involved in community action activities, and I believe he's the perfect candidate for these elections and for ULA at this time.
Awesome. Awesome. There's a reason why I asked if he lived in Liberia during the 90s, because we all know the story, right? And we also want to tie the significance, the crucial importance of the contribution of ULA to the economy of Liberia, the economy and the people of Liberia. Very, very huge based on the stats and the information you're given. And so it becomes very important who leads ULA, right? You know, this person has to be a rounded person, an all-round person. If you look at the dynamics here. So look, they say all Africans are soccer players. We all love soccer. I mean, you know, if you're an African and you don't love soccer, you are, I don't know the type of African you are. Liberia, you've had wonderful soccer players. Of course, the notable one is your now President George Weah. We all love soccer. I don't know about your leader, your candidate SHIWOH. Do you know if it's a sportsman at all, or?
Yeah, you know, the issues of America is when you come to this country as an immigrant and you try to resituate yourself. There are too many activities where you're involving back home. When you get to the States, you know, they kind of impede some of the things you want to do. You can't get involved in a lot because you don't
have because of time, right? Yeah,
because of time. I mean, like you said correctly, I've been in sports. I was in sports leadership in Liberia. You know, and so I can tell you for a fact that, like you said, most of us Africans, our major sport of concern is soccer. And so I believe Mr. Kamara loves sports. And now I know he loves sports because we've attended most of the games with the Eagles on watching the games at home. So these are just pastime activities that we get involved in, not physically. We have an organization for the old time we all meet on Saturday to recreate.
So Mr. SHIWOH is just one of us who is concerned about, you know, his community and has aspired and have been putting in work to serve his community based on what you have shared. Can we now understand some of the things that he wants to do with ULA? So we understand that his campaign team have been around for some time, and this association has been around for some time, since the early 70s. Well, are there plans, you know, based off his policies and, you know, his manifesto? What does he have in place, or what are some of his plans to steer this very old organization in a way that you all think it should go prior to how it's been run in the past? What are some of the new ways that you want to introduce to ULA to make it even more functional for the people of Liberia here in the diaspora and back on the continent? I'm going to take it from CZ.
Okay, so we have three major pillars that we're looking at in the first 100 days, because we believe that this organization, ULA, cannot continue to go down the pathway it's going. And if we don't arrest the situation within 100 days, we're going to have a problem. And so what the SHIWOH team is going to focus on in the first 100 days is going to be community engagement. It's going to be looking at our policies, our procedures, and our status as an organization, and also looking at marketing and PR. And the reason is that, look, you were speaking to, and I think my brother Lester Chipo was trying to get to that about community involvement and about ULA being relevant. As you find out right now, Dr. Gay talked about 18 chapters coming to an organization that is supposed to represent the Americas. So it's supposed to be the United States, the whole North America, and the whole South America. Yet we are having 18 chapters. And some of these chapters come from the same state. So for example, the state of New York got more than one chapter that's coming. So what we are looking at is that sooner or later, this organization is going to go from being the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas to just the Union of Liberian Association in a handful of states. And that's what we try. Our SHIWOH team is going to try to address, is to get out and do an outreach to all states. Whether there are EULA organizations there or not, to try to create EULA organizations. Whether these people believe in the ideology of EULA or not, but try to get everybody together under one umbrella so that we can talk together, so that we can speak with one another and find out what are those things that are critical that our brothers, our sisters, our aunties, and our moms and fathers in all of these states and in these other countries are dealing with, so that we can be able to make sure that we prioritize based on what our people want, not prioritizing based on what a few people in leadership decide. So that's one of the bigger things, is to try to make sure that they're going to empower local organizations. As it is right now, for example, I spoke to you about my chapter, the OLN in Minnesota. We in Minnesota have the largest collection of Liberians outside of Liberia in the diaspora. It's in Minnesota.
Wow. Okay.
So we give money in dues payments to EULA every year. We pay EULA, but there's nothing EULA can say of late that they've brought back to us that will show us the value for which we are paying them. So if you bring that to ECOWAS, for example, if member states are just paying dues to ECOWAS, but you cannot show any benefit like Liberia can show ECOMOG actually saving us from self-destruction, then people lose interest. And that's what has been happening with EULA. So one of the biggest things they're going to focus on in the first 100 days is to make sure we arrest this downward trajectory and try to reach to all Liberians, whether you belong to the union or not, as long as you're a Liberian living in these United States and the Americas, so both North and South, that we'll get you at the table, we will listen to you, and we'll make sure that we prioritize EULA's ideas and projects based on what's important to those people.
So that's what the change that you have been campaigning on all means, right? That change, that's what it stands for. Wow. Yep. Wow. Thank you for articulating that.
In addition to that, what Susie just stressed, another major concern has the union, like Mr. Goya told you, is that the market aspect of EULA is very poor. Now, the Kamara campaign has developed a marketing strategy that will take EULA back to the people. For example, I mean, I bet you, other than calling you and saying, can you carry this show or this debate, you probably didn't have any information on EULA. You don't have any major online platform that you can actually go and research EULA and say, this is what EULA is doing. That's the reason why the Kamara campaign has instituted, it's prepared to institute the first 100 days, the online media platform that will sell EULA back, give EULA back to the people, provide more information and to Liberians everywhere.
Okay.
This online marketing thing, this online media relations, and also taking EULA to the communities. One major component of the SHIWOH Kamara platform is community engagement. This is something we really don't have. You got chapters. Right. The chapters should be engaging their members, but because of the way EULA is run, it is difficult for chapters to actually engage their membership. So we want to Mr. Kamara wants to reinforce this community engagement, setting up what he will call a community action committee, if it's endorsed by the executive committee, to reach out to Liberians along with the regional vice presidents. You got the structure of EULA is such that you got a regional vice president like in the northern region. Our candidate in the northern region is Mr. Alpha Tonga. Now, this young man is building, like Sister to you, building a $1.4 million community center for his community. That is just one section of Liberia in Columbus. So with such a project, don't you think other communities should follow his example and see how he did it, how he got a contract, how he got the funding? So I believe that, I mean, with all of these street minds coming together, professionals, the guy who's running for Eastern Regional Vice President, he's a reverend from New York. This is somebody who also has a vision and belief that the union should expand beyond where it is sitting. The union has been stagnant for too long. It is at the crossroads, and we need to actually take it further and sell it, give it back to the community, because that was the original objective for doing it. It was not to go and engage in politics in Liberia or just sell, your own political ambition and then take power in government and then you let it lose. No. The intent is now it's time for Liberians in America to benefit from what EULA can do.
Excellent. So there is a Eastern Union Conference.
Yes. There's an Eastern Union, Eastern Regional
Eastern
Vice
Regional.
President. Yeah, and then you have the Northern Regional Vice President. you have the Southern Regional Vice President. So I mean, these are areas where you have Liberians. You got 3 regions that have been occupied.
So there are 3 regions: the south, east, and the north.
Yes.
Okay, and every region has a vice. Okay, every region has a vice president, and are they elected through this process?
Yes.
Okay.
They are elected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who is the current president of EULA?
It's another Liberian called Vamba Fofana. He's the current president. Yeah.
Excellent. And how long has he been running for? Has he been in the position?
This is final. I mean, EULA president are elected for 2 years, with option to recontest for another 2 years. So you got a maximum of 4 years.
Awesome. Do you think that the Liberian community is taking advantage of the RIF bill? And if not, how can what are the plans for the SHIWOH team to increase participation? CZ.
I'll let Mr. Go ahead, take that one over.
So that is a very great question, because us here in Minnesota, we have been leading that charge for many years. We've been taking people to our state capital. We've been engaging with our legislators, so U.S. senators and representatives, and it's been happening all over the states. It's been mostly in various states, and we've gotten to this point now where we got a bill that got passed that allows Liberian on TPS and DED a pathway to permanent residency or to citizenship, whichever way they qualify. And the short of the long answer is no. We don't think that Liberians in the diaspora are well placed to be able to take advantage of this. And the reason for that is the lack of leadership at the top. Now I know some states might be doing their own little thing, trying to make sure we're working in silos and in pockets. But working in silos and in pockets usually don't achieve the kind of outcome we want from a bill like this. Yeah. Okay. So what has happened is, ever since the passage of this law, it's been renewed before because it should have expired in December of last year, but because of COVID, it got extended to December of this year. And so what we found is that I've had 2 organizations, and I'm going to say this because I need this for you to understand where I'm driving to.
Okay.
When I lost the election as Secretary General, this current administration reached out to me and said, look, man, even though you didn't win, we appreciate your talent. We like what you brought to the table. Might you come and work for us as an Assistant Secretary General for media relations? I said, okay, fine. I was in the interest of working for my people. It was not because I wanted to be Secretary General. I just wanted to give out what God has blessed me with. Mm-hmm. But I resigned 2 years ago.
What has God blessed you with?
With being able to come to these shows and being able to at least get some a semblance of education. Okay. And so that's something that not everybody can boast of having. And I want to be very, very, very mindful that it's not because I deserve it, but for God blessing me and my ancestors always being at my back.
Look, it was supposed to be a funny trick question. But
I know. I wouldn't segue for that.
But you got it spot on, and it proves that you are the right man to be doing what you're doing, and for the team. So go ahead.
So what happened was 2 years ago, I resigned from that position. Mm-hmm. But if you look at EULA's website right now, my name is still there with my phone number as a contact information.
Okay.
2 years ago, Ato Wiado was Secretary General of the Union. He didn't run. We have a new Secretary General. Ato Wiado's phone number is still on the website as Secretary General. And so when 2 organizations on DocuBlock, for example, reach out and say, yo, we recognize that Liberians in the United States are not taking full advantage of this program. We need to partner to help and see what's going on. How can we help? They called the president, nobody answered. They called the VP, nobody answered. They had to call me. And so because of that, EULA has not held one town hall since the passage of this bill to say, okay, now we have this bill. How can we move forward? How can we do a study to find out what's preventing our people from applying for this bill? And how can we make sure we find remedy to help them so that we ensure that they apply for these bills? Because remember now, we got people who have been in the United States since the early 90s who weren't able to go back home. Some of these people lost loved ones. They haven't been able to go back home to properly grieve at the burial site of their loved ones because of their status. Now we get this thing, and the EULA leadership has been asleep, has not held one community event as EULA to say, well, how can we move forward? How can we amplify and advertise this gift that has been given to us? And so to answer your question, my brother, the answer is no. We don't think that Liberians are in the right spot to make maximum use of this, simply because there's been a lack of leadership. And that goes back to my quote from the beginning, that I am only afraid of an army of sheep that is led by a lion. We don't have lions leading us. And so that's the reason the SHIWOH Camaraderie team is wanting to come in. And that's the reason one of the biggest things in the first 100 days is that outreach. Because that outreach is going to include us talking to people about their immigration statuses, finding out what's preventing our people from accessing this thing, and then find out how can we collectively come together with a solution to help our people.
Right, man. Powerfully said, man. Thank you for sharing. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show live here in the studios in Chicago, in our Chicago studios. We are currently being carried on My Star radio station out there in Washington, D.C. It's a Pan-African radio station. We are, in the days to come, going to be doing a lot of syndication. You're going to be hearing the Progressive Minds on different platforms. By so doing, we want to encourage you all to contribute to what we're doing by way of your donations. We are a 501c radio platform, and so your donations in this country are all tax deductible. So please go on our website, theprogressivemindshow.com, and make your contribution to us. It is tax deductible. We need it to be able to keep this community platform going week in, week out. We have 2 shows in a week. On Wednesdays, we are here 6 p.m. To 6 to 8 p.m. CST, and on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. CST. We need to improve on our equipment and our operations. It costs a lot to get these things going. So our plea to the community is that go on our website, thepmsshow.com, thepmsshow.com, and donate generously to us. There's a saying in the community that we don't like to help each other, but it's not true. We want to help each other. Africans, Black people are very communal. We are very loving and hospitable. But I think sometimes it's the challenges that we face because, like they're saying, Africans come here and we have a lot of people we have to remit money to. It's a lot of responsibility on us. So I don't believe that it's a Black thing. I think it's an awakening that we all have to have. It's a realization that we all have to encourage each other to do more of, which is helping each other. And so I sincerely believe that we love to help. And I just want to crave your indulgence or ask that the community do so as we engage you all week in, week out. We are listening to CZ Goya, who's a campaign spokesperson for the SHIWOH and MINERVA. I'm not going to forget it. SHIWOH and MINERVA team who are running to become the next leaders for the Liberian Diaspora Association. The Liberia Diaspora Association belongs to a union, which is called Union of Liberia in the Americas. Union of Liberia in the Americas. It is the oldest African association in the United States. Very powerful, has contributed a lot to the economy of Liberia. 85% of the people living in Liberia depend on the remittance of the Liberian diaspora. So you know the power that they have. And today we are talking to the spokesperson. Unfortunately, the Carter Wilson team couldn't make it. And so we have the privilege to engage one party, one candidate who is running the show. So feel free to ask questions, comments as we go along. Dr. Atimus Gay is a guru. Okay, all these things stands on his shoulders, and he has given us the background to the conversation we're having. If you have questions for Dr. Gay, please go ahead and ask. There are some comments on the platform that I want him to respond to, but let's keep going with the SHIWOH MINERVA team in the presence of CZ and James K. Clean. The African community have a lot of immigrants in the diaspora. I don't know who wins the competition when it comes to the population. Nigeria might win it. But at least Liberia has about 250,000 people. Correct me if I'm wrong. who have gained a lot of resources, smart, intelligent people, high places. You know, how is the SHIWOH and MINERVA team looking forward to harness all this, you know, leverage these resources that the Liberian community have here to the benefit of the people of Liberia in the diaspora and in Africa? Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just come.
Yeah, James.
Like I told you, part of the 100 days plan is to engage not just Liberians. Once we are situated in with the leadership, it is down to expand to give ULA back out there to the rural communities. We need to engage with our African Caribbean partners, engage with our other African communities, the Ghanaian community, all of these communities, because whatever we do, our relationship is binding. We are all working towards the same objective, dealing with our rural communities, helping our citizens back home, and helping our neighbors, our citizens here in America. Many of our youths have been engaged into acts that that is hampering their stay in the United States. The Mr. Kamara campaign intends to engage these youths. He had the first youth assembly in Pennsylvania when he became president of the Liberian community here. Very successful. He intends to expand that uptake back to different communities so that together we can all make our Liberian community a better place. We need to help our colleagues, help our youths.
Thank you so much for, I don't know if CZ has anything to add to that, but James, you eloquently give us a feedback. The number to ring in is 815-277-5047. It's right there on the flyer, is 815-277-5047 if you want to ring in and contribute to the show. But CZ, if you want to add anything to that, go ahead. If not, I have the next question for you.
Yeah, no, in addition to what James said, is that ULA started a registry so many years ago. Mm-hmm. and there was a registry to collect names and expertise of Liberians in the diaspora. And as you rightfully said, per capita, though, I mean, number-wise, Nigeria is, of course, going to lead. But when we look at per capita, it's not so easy to see that Nigerians going to lead when it's come to the acquisition of skills and knowledge in the diaspora. Liberians are really good at that. And so one of the biggest things the SHIWOH MINERVA Grant thing is trying to do is to see how we can harness that power and how we can crystallize it and have it targeted.
Yeah, can you hold on to targeted, because you have a caller on the line. I'll have you continue from there. I know you're not going to lose your chain of thought, because look, I haven't. You are really a spokesperson. You know, you got it. So I love it. I love I love you, and I like your approach to things. So to James, I think you guys are doing a very good service to your candidate and your community and the African community. I think that in the future, if I'm running for president, I need to hire a spokesperson. I know who to call. Caller, tell us your name and why you're ringing to the show, please.
Yes. How you doing?
Yes, I am very well. Please tell us your name and why you're ringing in.
My name is Gako Mugwe, calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Yes, I want to thank our fellow Liberians,
okay,
for wanting to organize themselves while they're here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that as they go about their election this weekend, that it may be successful,
okay,
and that it may produce not only a title-driven president, but a transformational implementation president. And the reason why I'm saying is that our community organization is not a political institution. The community have a set rules, set bylaws, set guidelines, set mission statements, set goals and objectives. I'm on this call, I'm listening. I haven't heard this team reference to any of those mission statements, any of those objectives. Yeah, they are right now saying that in the first 100 days, they think they're Joe Biden. In the first 100 days, they want to engage. They want to shift away from the missions of the organization and put in a new agenda that will be very costly to manage, to maintain. And we know that as a community organization here in Chicago, raising money to adequately run the organization is very difficult. The challenge is there. So my thing is, what are some things in the mission statements that is wrong? Or what are some things that is there that is the current administration is not implementing? Are you all going to focus on the mission and objectives of this organization that we are claiming and proud to say is the oldest African organization, which is good. We are the oldest independent country in Africa. What to show for it, we don't know. You know, so what is it in the mission statement, in the objective of ULA, that the new incoming or the new leadership will be focusing on if it's the MINERVA and SHIWOH Kamara team? What is it? Are you all going to shift away from the mission statement? Because this is what I'm hearing when I read all of the campaign platforms. But I'll rest. I will let the team answer.
My brother, thank you so much for a brilliant question and contribution. I appreciate it. Please go ahead, CZ. You want to respond to this and then continue from where you left off?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a tribute to what I was trying to say about crystallizing and targeting, having a spear, which will lead the ingenuity we find in our community. Because this just spoke to that. My brother Gako Mowe is from Chicago. And our brother here, Dr. Artemus Gray, is also from there. So you can see already that we have very smart Liberians. We got people who in pockets, we're in silos, and we need to bring them together. And one of those people is going to be my brother, Mr. Mowe. So I really appreciate that. But the point I want to strike on here is that he spoke about, what has failed and what is this team going to do and why 100 days. All of the questions you've asked us so far has been about saying what we're going to do differently, right? So I didn't want to jump into first saying what the other team is now doing, because for me, I don't come from a deficit mindset. I don't want to speak about what the other people aren't doing. I want to first talk about what I'm going to do, and then I'll contrast that with what is not happening. But since he asked the question, let me go into that. So the first thing you want to see is that Article 3, Chapter 3 of Article 1 of Chapter 3 of the Union Constitution said the Union shall have its corporate headquarters in the city of Washington, D.C. District of Columbus. This current administration, including the Vice President Carter, that's now wanting to do this dress presidency, we don't have a headquarters in D.C. So the first thing is this administration, and by extension, this current Vice President Carter, who's trying to now become president, has been operating outside of our Constitution. So there's one big thing that's failed. Another thing that's failed that I spoke about, and I'm hoping my brother can go back and listen to, was this question when you asked about the Liberian Refugee Fairness Act that got passed. And I said that is a failure of leadership. I know local organizations are doing stuff, but EULA has to be able to come in and help lead the process. My friend James Koyan spoke about what's happening in Ohio, in Columbus, when Alpha Tonga can be able to raise money to buy land in Columbus to try to build a community center. What can we do as EULA is not to go and do, and build lands, but we can say, okay, Alpha in Columbus, you did that. What is the blueprint? So that somebody else in Georgia might want to do the same thing. We can say, look, instead of recreating the wheel, because we do research and we keep research for that. Here is what happened in Columbus. Here is how you can do that. EULA has to lead on that. EULA has not led on that. So for example, so he's asking for failure. The Frank Carter team has been passing around claiming they raised $20,000 during COVID. $20,000. They've been there articulating mediocrity, and they want people to clap for them. So here's why I call it mediocrity. In Columbus, Ohio, Alpha Tonga, the guy who's running to be the Northern Regional Vice President, was able to get $50,000 in grant, not begging, because the EULA money was people donation. It was not a grant, right? So Alpha was able to get $60,000 in Columbus. Here in Minnesota, we got over $60,000 in grant during COVID. But EULA, as a national leadership, is there trying to get an ovation for getting $20,000 in donation when they couldn't even apply for a grant. So that is a massive failure, right? And the way we measure leadership is in time of crisis. If you shrink during times of crisis, then you're not a leader. Okay. And I'm reminded by Ron Emanuel, because I want to quote Ron Emanuel, because my brother, Agako Moe, is from Chicago, the former Obama chief of staff and former former mayor of the city of Chicago said, you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste. This COVID was when money was available from the federal government, from so many organizations trying to help. And that's how OLM was able to get money to be able to help our people. That was grant. That is how the organization in Columbus was able to do that. But sadly, the current leadership that is being led by Frank Carter allowed this crisis to go to waste. So I could go on all day. And as a matter of fact, there are written empirical evidence that shows that everything that ever got handed down to Frank Carter in leadership died. You know, when we were in school, we all learned the story of King Midas. And real quick, I'm gonna stop. We learned the story of King Midas, the king who everything you touch turned to gold, right? Frank Carter is the reverse King Midas. Everything he touches dies away, right? And so I could go on and on and on, but like I said, I came here with the mindset of trying to talk about what my team would do, not about, you know, crying over spilled milk. We are setting a goal, a target. Any leadership that does not set a target, that does not set a time frame where you check yourself, you're not a leader that's vibrant. So we are setting 100 days, not to be like Joe Biden, but because we want to be accountable to our people, so that when the SHIWOH team does not do what they say they're going to do in 100 days, you can hold them accountable. It is for creating accountability.
Absolutely, my brother. I hope he responded directly to your question.
I mean, that did not speak any fact into any other question that I read. I point out the issue. I didn't say we should talk about individuals. Now, we can point out what individuals did not do or what they should have done. We all know there are challenges when you run an organization. I have ran an organization. There are challenges. Now, my focus here is EULA is not a political organization. It's an organization that was designed for a community, for members of the diaspora, to seek the welfare and be sure that we can be fairly represented and have a voice. None of what he just mentioned referenced the mission statement. He referenced the Constitution or the bylaws. I'm asking specifically for the mission statement of the organization and the objectives. Are you going to follow that as it is written, or are you going to change it? What are you going to change?
Let me come in. Just 1 second, please. Let me come in real quick, because he keeps talking about a mission statement, and EULA does not have a mission statement. But let me go back to show my brother something. The mission statement, if there's anything similar to that, will be what is captured in the preamble of EULA or Constitution. So let me read the preamble to my brother. Maybe that will help him out. It says, "We, the citizens and descendants of the Republic of Liberia, residing in the Americas, cognizant of the need to promote unity among us, provide for our common good, and advocate for political, social, and economic development in our country, do hereby ordain and establish this Constitution of the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas." So I don't know where you're coming from to say EULA cannot be political, when in fact it's right in the preamble, right? And I haven't even spoken about union. Hold on, just 1 second.
I'm not saying.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
And everywhere we've spoken today, I have not said anything about being political. If you go back and play the tape, everything I've said has been about empowering our local organizations. That's the reason we talked about the first 100 days with going out to every part of the Americas and making sure that we have communication, have interaction with local organizations to ask our people what is it that they need, so that EULA can prioritize based on the need of the people. That's what I said. And so if this is going to be a social service organization, that's how you run it. You go to the people that you're supposed to lead and ask them and listen to them. That way you can be able to set up your priorities. So I don't see where the politicization is coming from here.
Okay.
So
My brother.
I also wanted to add.
Okay, so thank you for reading the preamble. I mean, it's good that you read it. So when you read the preamble, the objectives, the mission, everything is stated within there. So in terms of how ULI is structured and how ULI is organized, I mean, we that have worked with ULI, we understand. Currently, you utilizing resources that will be generated after this election to go the 100 days to reach out to will be a waste of resources. One thing that I would recommend, if you do become the new leaders, we first need to regroup and bring back member chapters, empower those member chapters to be able to recruit their members to be able to join ULI, because currently ULI, there's a serious issue with membership, because the previous administration under the Fofana and Cooney administration, a lot of member chapters are not active within ULI, and you know that. So then, how can you go back and visit that? So then, my thing, this is not an attack. I just want you to look at that preamble that you read. How can you focus your mission around that and make sure that that is the sole focus of your leadership? Because you only have 2 years in office. You don't have that much time for all the things that you guys want to do.
So I think that's why he said give him. That's why he's saying give him the 100 days. If he's not meeting, go ahead.
I want to add what my brother just said in response to your question.
Okay,
When we started the conversation, we told you that ULA is a chapter-based organization, and since they intimated that most of the chapters are today not active, or some have been suspended by the current leadership because of politics. Now, the 100-day plan for the Kamara administration is to go back to these chapters and see what the issues were, why are those are voluntarily left, try to see how we can get them back. Those were suspended, review the records, and see how they can come back to the organization. Number two, are you aware that ULA does not have a registered 501c3 status? Now, these are some of the issues, the Kamara grant team want to attack. The social services.
That is not true.
I'm coming. Just give me a chance to learn. I want to learn.
No, but we have to correct.
Let's correct that. Is that a 501c3?
Yeah.
ULA does not have a registered 501c3 status.
Dr. Atomos, you've been with ULA for a long time.
The social service arm has it.
Sorry?
The social service arm has a 501c3.
But not the organization itself.
Let me correct some.
How do we get an organization to communicate? How can we even get a grant if you're not a registered charity?
Because the way
part of the product come out 100-day plan is to register.
Hold on, Mr. Hope. Everybody is listening to this too.
Go ahead,
because a lot of Liberians always use that as a line. The way we structure the organization in the beginning of the formation can handle the way we will get a 501c3. If you did not register as a 501c3 organization, you're not going to get 501c3. So let's get that fact straight.
Dr. Artemis, can you
register them?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Since you are the neutral person, go ahead.
Let me speak, since I am the vice chair for the election commission and also the double role, the head of Illinois chapter. Here's a fact: every organization has to go through what I call an evolution. No one comes and say, Liberia, as our own country history, we started as a commonwealth, and eventually we move towards a nation state. So ULA and I has this unique opportunity. That's why I would have loved to see the Carter camp here, because this is very important. This is our bicentennial. Think about it. February 15th, 1820, 88 young men and women, a toddler, 2-year-old baby, froze to death in New York at the African American Methodist Episcopal Church on their journey to Liberia. Their aim was not to form a country, but to escape slavery. And in the end, we know on December 15, 1821, the group traveling via Sierra Leone landed on Providence Island, actually called Dozwa. They were not there to form a country, but to escape the bondage of slavery. To say that YULA, a student organization that started here and have personalities like Charles Taylor, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Tom Wowoyu, and others, to just remain within as a student group from schools in Illinois, in Philadelphia, in New York, and say that was it. That tells me they were still stuck in a mindset. So there's something important here, Brother Gargon, and you know, you have been working in organization before. If you don't think beyond yourself, you're going to be a dinosaur. So there's a message here. So I think it's important that if this campaign cannot tell us that it could morph this, I love the message that it is time that there should be a standard office. Gargon, you know, we got our own office here now, a headquarters. You want to tell me Africa's oldest independent organization cannot have a space to call its headquarters? There's something must be wrong. Something must be wrong with this picture. So there is a message here, and I'm going to leave it and let the team speak for itself.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Caller, I think this conversation can be continued outside this platform, right? It's an ongoing discussion, but I hope that what we have, the tete-a-tete we've had so far, I mean, in this past minutes, you know, has given each one of us some level of understanding or, you know, information that would help us, you know, understand more what is at stake. And I hope that would help you. I hope that does it for you this evening. If there aren't any further questions, we would like to continue with the guest and hope that you will keep watching and keep sharing and keep being part of the conversation. My brother, can you hear me? Okay, Dr. Artemus, I think that I think you drove the message home, and so he got it. It's 2 minutes to the hour, but it's important what we're discussing. So we're going to extend the time so that our guests can be able to give out the information that they need to give out for their candidate. We want to be able to hear a bit more before we bring the curtains down for tonight's episode. So please keep sharing the feed if you haven't yet. Dr. Artemus, I don't think you've shared it. You have to go on your Facebook and share the feed now if you haven't. Okay.
I share it to all. In fact, I get a lot of messages.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you shared on your page.
I mute myself. Yeah, I share a lot. Yeah.
Okay, I want to mess with you a little bit. So
okay. Good.
So transparency. If you want to continue the point you're making earlier and land quickly, that'll be nice. If not, I can move on to the next one. CZ.
Yeah. So the issue of transparency. You see, this is why I like these kind of intellectual exchanges, and that's why I said from the beginning is that that we would do a great service to our people when we have political education like this, where we come, the other team come, and we market in ideas and allow people to pick from them. So transparency is also a part of that. And I'm going to be a little transparent right now.
Yeah, before you continue with transparency, there was the question prior to that. You were diving into that question deeper.
Oh, I was diving into the issue of
leveraging
like Liberian intellectuals and intellectualism in here.
And then you can connect it to the transparency issue.
Right. And so I was talking about how we did have a registry. YULA, when I say we, I mean YULA had a registry. And there was a project that was taken out about 4 or 5 years ago to register Liberian professionals so that we know how to be able to reach those Liberian professionals, know how to be able to leverage them. If, for example, we need to build a website, just as easy. We reach out to that and know, okay, we know people here that can do this, and we can be able to contract local Liberians, right, who are able to do that. So it's a way of buying from our own and elevating our own. Yeah. That project is died away. And one of the biggest things that the SHIWOH Camaraderie thing is focusing on is to be able to not only be able to count a hard count of how many Liberians are in the diaspora in these Americas, but also what are they doing, so that we ensure that we are marketing our people, so that, you know, people are able to buy from their own Liberians or West Africans, right? So in the issue of transparency, we ask and say, look, if you guys going to have an election, if the leaders, those people who are running are so busy, we can have surrogates, people who understand your ideologies, that can articulate it, go on these platforms to have conversation. I'm sorry to say this is the third platform that the Carter team has run from. I was on another platform and asked them that they should come and let's have a discussion, so our people can hear between us and understand where we all stand when it comes to what's the vision for our mission to move this organization forward. They absconded from that. It was focused on Liberia. They absconded from that. When I heard about this today, I got told about this meeting today when I was at work. And I said, well, I'm driving home right now. I'm going to be there because I was told they were going to be here. Because again, the idea is for us to have this intellectual exchange so people can see. And so when they go to vote, they're voting based on transparency, that I transparently know where you're going to take my country, where you're going to take my organization. Here's one big deal right now, and I'm going to drop that and let it be. The Frank Carter thing he's talking about, they're running on transparency. So let's ask some questions. Frank Carter left from here without being empowered by a sitting General Assembly or being empowered by the board, which is how leadership works. Decided to go to Liberia and said he was going and trying to open a diaspora bank in Liberia. A bank. When we don't even have a credit union in the United States as Liberians. They were going to go to Liberia to try to open a bank when all you can manage to raise in the COVID era is $20,000. You know, you need more than $5 million as a guarantee to have a bank. You can only raise $20,000. And as of yet, he is yet to make a report on the $20,000 that was collected that people give to help our people in Liberia. So how can you be transparent when you cannot even account for $20,000 that you raise? So these are the questions we keep asking. And we talked about, you know, I'm happy that Dr. Gay is on here because this is the second election commission, right? We had a first election commission that was dismissed because of political machination. Their first election commission was led by a lady, right? And that election commission set up the rules and guidelines for the elections. Frank Carter applied to that election commission, abided by the rules that were put in place by that election commission, as is everybody on the ballot today. They came back and wrote a letter later and said they're dismissing the election commission because the election commission, here is it, was out of tenure. So I asked Frank Carter when I met him in Ohio, I had gone there. And I said, Frank, how long had that tenure expired? He said, over a year ago. I said, did you know that when you applied to that election commission? He said, yes. So my question to him was, how can I trust you if you win? You're going to take an oath to defend your Constitution. How do I trust you when you are telling me here that you could not and accepted and acquiesced the abrogation, the deliberate violation of your Constitution? You see, that's transparency. That is what is lacking with Frank Carter, because he believes that ULA leadership is an entitlement to him. He has been vice president, so for him, it's natural to be president. He thinks it's guaranteed for him. And that is the point we're trying to make here, that in leadership, in organizations that want to thrive and that need to thrive, nobody should ever see leadership as an entitlement. When you give leadership to people who think they're entitled to it, they don't do anything much with it. And that's the idea that we have.
Fair point. How is the youth involvement in all of this? We know that it's very critical for any organization, society, whatever. Apart from corporations who don't necessarily have to pay attention to the youth, but in other institutions, societies, and setups, establishments, the youth play a very key role. How important is it for the growth of ULAA, and what is your team doing about it to have more vibrancy, more youth vibrancy in your moving forward? James,
Well,
you want to, I don't know if you want to,
yeah. I started out by telling you Mr. Kamara hosted the first youth summit in Pennsylvania when he became president of the Liberia Association of Pennsylvania. Now, you notice that ULA as an organization, I don't have the records. As far as I know, whether ULA as an institution has endeavored to ever organize the youth. Part of Mr. Kamal's 100-day plan is to get back to the executive committee to ensure that there is a youth coordinator, a chairman, a youth coordinator that will begin to mobilize the Liberians, young Liberians in the diaspora, to ensure that these youths can come and become a part of the union, because the union has become almost like a small court where you got a handful of people running this institution, no impact on the larger society. And I believe this is the thread that this is a chain that Mr. Kamal wants to break. If he's elected, so we want to appeal to our diaspora communities, Illinois, Ohio, and all of the other chapters, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, the 3 chapters in New Jersey, New York, the 3 or 4 chapters in New York, or everywhere else. Come and vote for a change. This is the mantra change that Mr. Kamal is pushing. And this change is intended to drive the union from where it is to somewhere higher. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Are there some Liberian associations that are not under the umbrella of ULLA in the United States? Sisi, sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and how many are there, if you know, and why are they not in there? And what would your team do to try to harmonize everyone?
I think it's easier to count how many we have in EULA versus how many is not in EULA.
Okay.
And that speaks to a problem.
But
right?
but so does that mean that there's more
there is not a part of EULA than there is a part of EULA?
That's
and so,
how many are there in under EULA right now?
I think I heard that Dr. Gay is 18, right? We got 18 chapters.
Hey, right, 18.
18 registered for this convention.
For this convention, 18 for this convention. And mind you,
Dr. Guy, in your estimation, how many you think?
Is Illinois a part of the 18?
We will be making a protest letter very soon because I played a dual role. So we are actually, it should have been 20 chapters in this election year, but 2 chapters were reduced. So we're going to bring that as part of the democratic process. Why? So I won't say much because, again, I play a dual role.
Okay, Dr. Guy, quick one. From your estimation, can you give us a rough number of how many you think that are out there that do not belong to you?
I will tell you, good you asked that question. We have we got the county associations. That's about what? How many counties we have again? 16 counties. And only about 7 within the union. And then we against this who was actually one of the leaders from Illinois who became ULA, we had the largest number of chapters or organizations. We had 32 chapters registered. Now, think about it. Election year, we have 18, actually 20, but now reduced to 18. Okay. So it means that a lot of work needs to be done. But if you talk about the overall diaspora organization from Liberia, we're talking about over 500. That will include sports organization or Susu Club. I heard a young man or sister talk about we don't have banks, but we want to credit union. So we talk about other professional group, Liberian Medical Association. They are all here. All right, and I can speak about this because this is what my passion is. They should all form part of these greater Liberian Association, whether through the EULA or another group. But that has to happen in this time we are in.
I think one of the difficulties for I don't know. I think Africans. I don't know if I can talk about the other Black communities. Is the issue of unity. I think we struggle to do things together. We believe there's that tendency for us to my group, this group. So under one umbrella, you have about 20 small groups of maybe 10 people here, 5 people here, 20 people there. But there's no strength in that. There's no strength in segregation. There's no strength in, small groups and tiny numbers. So I think we can keep trying. I think now I won't say we can keep trying. We ought to keep talking about this so that the habit of working for a bigger union in everything that we strive for can be the forefront of our conversations. I just threw this in because go ahead.
I think what you just said is because of ego. If it does not mean
ego,
that it can
right?
be anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, ego is one of the reasons why these things happen. But I mean, we have the ability to unite, but the community is growing. The younger generations are coming. Things that happened 10, 15 years ago would not happen today. And so everyone's trying to find their own space in these institutions. And when they get there, they try to entrench themselves and try to get others away, believing that they should be the only one running these institutions. That's the kind of thing we're trying to change here with the whole ULA business. Mr. Kamara wants to change that messaging. The messaging that only one group of Liberians can run ULA. What happened to the others? You heard me asking Dr. Gay about his chapter. Because it's politically they believe that Mr. Kamara has some support base in Illinois. What they did? They went ahead to suspend the Illinois chapter. Why are you doing that? We're all Liberians. Why can't we be nationalistic enough, allow the democratic process to work? If you don't get elected, you don't get elected. But this concept, I call them street corner political gangsters. That level of political gangsterism where you mount yourself and then nobody comes around but me. And I think if our community will have to grow, we need to have a mindset to grow the very institution we have.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point you made, which ties into the importance of the youth, because I feel like the youth coming now have a different mindset, and that's why it's very good that the SHIWOH MINERVA team already is thinking in that direction, because when the youth get involved, there's energy and there's also that new way of thinking. Just like you said, us working together, that nationalistic idea or ideology is very fresh in the youth's mind. They ascribe to it, they believe in it, and I think that if we are able to replace some of the old ideologies from our leaders, old school leaders, things can get better for the Black African community in general. That's my opinion. I'm not saying this is what you guys believe in, but I'm just but I believe we are like-minded, so it's all good. Well, we will have to wrap up, but a few more questions, just one or two questions. How are you going to deal with this 501c3 situation that's going on? Because it looks like it might impede your acquisition of some of the resources that are available for your organization. And so how are you, how's your team trying to address this going forward?
So part of the 100-day plan of the SHIWOH MINERVA campaign is where we want to look at the policies, the procedures, and the legal status of ULA. And we will be dealing with this. There's a research now going on to find out what the actual status is. But as far as we know, information available to us indicate that ULA does not have a registered 501c3. So in the first 100 days, the application will be at the IRS to ensure that ULA get regularized, so we can begin to apply for grants and make sure ULA takes its place back in the community of Liberian of African communities in America.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's talk about why we even have the ad hoc committee in the first place. And I think it's because of conflicts, right, that has been going on, So we have an ad hoc. We should have a standing committee board, why ad hoc? So look, seems like there's confusion. There's a lot of internal conflict. What is the approach of the SHIWOH MINERVA team to resolve this internal conflicts so that ULAA can have a smooth sailing and impact more than it had in the past years? CZ, your turn.
So I was going to push that on Dr. Gay since he's here with that team, but I'm just joking. He's part of the ad hoc, but I'm just messing with him right now. here is what the SHIWOH team believes as a mantra and as a core value, is that we are better when the tent is wider. You know, there is this fish in Liberia that lives in the swamp. We call it in America tilapia, but in Liberian world we call it buka. When you go to the swamp where you are not, when you're dealing with a pond, tilapia is a predator in the pond. But when you open up the pond and allow ocean water to come in, allow fresh energy to come in, allow the youth to come in, allow the academic exchange of ideas, then tilapia that has been a predator in that pond now becomes a prey. That is what keeps a lot of our Liberian organizations from growing, because people in leadership want to always remain a tilapia in that low swamp and being the king. They don't want to open it up because they're afraid that when you open it up, there's going to be bigger fish that come through and your ecosystem is going to have to change. And then you might go from being a predator to a prey. The SHIWOH MINERVA team is not afraid of that. They don't feel entitled to a leadership. One of the things that create conflicts and friction and crisis in Liberian organization is when leadership is afraid of opening up to challenges. And that is what my brother Konya was talking about. And so bringing in the youth, making sure that people who didn't win election doesn't mean their ideas weren't right. That doesn't mean all of their ideas were wrong. It just means that most of their ideas were not ready. So you bring those people on. You don't be afraid of challenges. You don't be afraid of having people challenge you and call you out. And so my answer to that is going to be reaching out to everybody, whether they voted for the team or not. And I'm going to hold them accountable for that. That whether people voted for you or not, whether they campaign vigorously against you or not, as long as they are still Liberians, they deserve a seat at the table to have a conversation on the way forward. Because we cannot continue to have splinter organizations. We can't continue to have organizations like that continue to shrink. And Dr. Gay spoke to that when he said, otherwise you'll be a dinosaur, right? We can't continue to just live in the same space. We got to expand. We got to move on. That's why we bring in the young people. That's why EULA should have an app. There should be an app for EULA. When I was running for Secretary General, I told them I could create an app for EULA, so that when you go to any state, like if I'm in Chicago and I want to find out, Dr. Gay, there's a wedding going on, there's a Liberian, I don't know what's going on. I pick up my EULA app. Yo, what's going on in Chicago? It's listed. There's a wedding going on here. There's a barbecue. You want to meet Liberians? Go there. We introduced that idea, but it died here. And so because people are afraid of the intellect that other people bring to the table. And so the SHIWOH Kamara and MINERVA Grant team are going to make sure that they create a bigger tent. And if they don't do that, I will be calling you, my brother, to come back on your show and hold them accountable for that. Because allow people to take leadership and kill organizations. And I believe they're not going to do that.
Wow. Wow. So it's almost 20 minutes past 8 p.m. And we have, if you don't know, the SHIWOH MINERVA team, their intent for the ULAA, I think that you've gotten something this evening from our conversation, but so we have to bring it to an end with the energy and the information these guys have. If I don't run away from them, we're going to be here for the rest of the evening. So we gotta find a way. Because there's so much, it looks like they're just now starting, which is very good, and it looks bright for the union, the association, the entire diaspora community. And so I'm really pleased that CZ, Goya, James, Kolian, you all came on and helped put out the message for the SHIWOH MINERVA team who are running for the president or to be the leader of the ULAA, which is the Union of Liberia Association in the Americas. Dr. Guy, give us your closing remarks, and then we'll go to James, and then CZ can close us for today.
Well, thank you again. I want to say this at the backdrop of Liberia Bicentennial, a program that we've been pushing, and the fact that we had this very successful show tonight. I want to tell the two camps, bravo. I want to tell the leadership of EULA, bravo. And I want to say thank you for being a friend, a partner, for hosting one of Africa's diaspora organization, EULA, and its oldest. And here I want to leave the word with the two camps. For those who didn't show up, you miss a chance. I think we're going to continue to use the progressive minds to expand the diaspora, because together we are all able to build collective team. So let me leave all of us with 2 rules. Rule 1, don't give up. Rule number 2, always remember rule number 1. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Before you all give us your last words, let's go to the feed. We missed it. I mean, I think that it's been so powerful. We missed some of the comments on Facebook. We missed to share some of the comments on Facebook. So let's take us a minute to do that. Okay, this is when he was asking for the number. This is unfair. The local community should put in strategies with. Okay, so we got this one, and he says 4 regions, 3 active. 4 regions, 3 active. Thank you. This is for Norway. That's from Norway. This is from Vane. This is Mr. Atomos guy. My support. Okay, that was somebody just throwing their support. In Sierra Leone offers citizenship to the diaspora too. The process takes 10 days. Okay, I think he is still in the fever of the diaspora citizenship thing that we discussed yesterday. So he's still reveling in that. I love it, bro. Daniel Clayton, I love it. We're going to be having that conversation again, the citizenship thing. And I hear Sierra Leone is also doing the dual citizenship for the diaspora. So we might reach out to the Sierra Leonean community and engage them here if they're ready to speak on that. Israel offers citizenship. Okay, thank you, my brother. We can. Oh, okay, so he says we cannot see on his phone. That was when Chipo was trying to give us some information. So my DNA test revealed I am related to the Kpele people of Liberia. So Oprah and I have something in common. Oh, Oprah has a lineage from Liberia too. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oprah should be taking part in this Liberia diaspora election.
We gotta recruit her for election next time.
We should be tagging her. Oh, nice. That's good. I didn't know. First time hearing about Oprah's situation, so that's good. Oprah, they should be going to. I know she's investing in South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
I mean, Liberia. Look, come on. South Africa don't need them. They don't need a million. Take it to Liberia.
Yeah, no.
Come on, Oprah, please. If you are listening to us, take some.
I will put her to run side for a presidency if she wants to.
What was that?
I want to push her to run to be president of Liberia if she decides to.
Of course, she has to. But before she runs, she has to put plenty money.
Exactly. Yeah.
First time on the show. Nice introduction. This is Henry. Hey, Henry Wilson. Thank you for helping out today, Henry Wilson. Great man. Great gentleman. I really appreciate you. Abdul Sharif says, good greetings, my brother. Thank you so much, Abdul. For those who did send in your comment, we really appreciate you. I want to thank our audience for staying with us for the past 2.5 hours to listen in to the Liberia Diaspora elections that's coming up this Saturday. But before I give my closing remarks, let's go to James Killen to give us his closing remarks.
Well, thank you again for the invite. It was a pleasure being here. I enjoyed the discussion. Again, I want to appeal to our diaspora brothers and sisters in the 18 chapters and the 3 or 4 counties that are active. Nimba, Sino, I believe, are active. I hope that Illinois can come back to participate in the process. We rely on you. Your vote is cardinal. You should be part of the decision-making process of Liberians in the diaspora. I also want to appeal to the folks in Columbus, Ohio, in fact, the entire Ohio, Columbus, Toledo, and the remaining 3 other counties that have a Liberian association to come out and vote for Mr. Kamara and MINERVA, Alpha Tonga, Reed, Dr. Will Jala, and of course, Emmanuel, who is also running for the post of Secretary General. Those in my state of Pennsylvania, I've joined the conscious-minded people of PA, Pennsylvania, to go to Ohio and support the candidacy of Mr. SHIWOH Kamara for president of ULA. It is our hope that he will win and will come back here celebrating his win and set the union again back on its course for progress. Let's not allow those who believe that they hold the key to the community and they can't allow anybody else to come on board. Let's not allow them to continue to hold the union hostage. We must fight this battle to the end and ensure that Mr. Kamara is elected president of the Liberian Association of the Union Liberian Association in the Americas. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, James. CZ, please.
Thank you so much, my brother Alinko, for having us on, and then thanks also to Dr. Gay and the Liberian Bicentennial movement to try to make sure that we are having these exchanges. EULA is at a crossroad. I'm reminded of a parable that is common in Liberia that says there is this young kid who thought he was smarter than the old man in the village, and he had a bird in his hand. He had a bird at the back of his, had his hands at his back. And he asked the old man, the bird I have in my hand, is it dead or is it alive? And the old man said, that depends on how hard you're squeezing that bird. EULA is that bird. It's in your hand, and these are our elections. That's going to determine how we move forward if we do survive as a union. If you've ever lived in the United States for a long time and haven't had a chance to go back home to meet your families, your loved ones, to celebrate or to grieve the passing of a loved one because of their immigration status, this election should matter to you. If you've ever had a crisis or crises and did not know which organization you can reach out to that will honor your tradition and culture and help you out, this election should be important to you. If you have people call you late night because you're a leader in your community and they're struggling and they're worried, how do we do this? How do we do that? And there is not one Liberian organization number that you can call as an umbrella organization to lead the charge. These elections should be important to you. If you're worried, why is it that we talk about remittances and we send a lot of remittances to Liberia, but we're not targeting, we're not collecting money as diasporans and targeting them and leveraging our intellectual abilities in these United States, these elections should be important to you. If you're wondering why is it that we don't have a national strategy in the diaspora, in the Americas, for our young people to engage them and try to make sure that they stay on the straight path to making sure that they don't get in problems in the United States, these elections should be important to you. This election is so important to me that September 18th, the date of the election is my birthday. I'm leaving my wife and family. I am flying into Ohio. I am coming Saturday morning. I am casting my ballot Saturday morning. I'm leaving Sunday morning. I'm spending over $400 to cast one single ballot because the union is very important to me. And I hope this union is as much as important to you as it is to me. There is a parable with the Gola people that says, if you want to plant a new mat, you have to sit on an old one to plant the new one. So the old mat that we have here is the talent and the expertise, the lived experience of the SHIWOH, KEAR, and MINERVA grant team that is out there, that you can touch, that you can read about. That's the old mat they want to sit on to plant a new mat, a new EULA that will ensure that we don't have 18 chapters and we don't continue to disenfranchise chapters, that we make sure that all Liberians in every part of these Americas feel empowered, feel a part of EULA. And so that next time when we say EULA, nobody on this planet will ask us what is EULA because they will have learned about EULA through work and through expertise. So I'm here telling you today, I'm here endorsing SHIWOH KEAR for president, MINERVA Grant for vice president, Emmanuel Nangbe for secretary, Alexander Bazi for financial secretary, Dr. Will Jala for treasurer, Reverend Robert Rees for the Eastern Regional Vice President, and Alpha Tonga for the Northern Regional Vice President. Because I believe that I, as a Liberian, will be judged if we sat here and allow our premier organization, EULA, to go to waste. And I will refuse to entrust this jewel that's been passed down to us since the 1970s to people who have a well-researched and documented ability to kill things. So let's give this to the fixers and not give this to the reverse Midas that touch everything and die. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me on. We'll see you all in Ohio on September 18th.
Wow. Thank you. And before we close bring the curtains down, let's take this quick break, which we had to.
Welcome. Chris Toffee Financial Company is ready and available either group or one-on-one basis to help you understand different investment opportunities in America that you can invest in with any amount. The right college account for your children to withdraw money. We can help you to get appropriate life insurance that you can withdraw money or take loan. And if you're in the process of buying or refinancing a vehicle or a house, we can help by building up your credit score. We also repair credit by permanently removing negative items such as medical bills, collections,
We want to apologize in the break of the commercials. That's why we need your support. We need to improve on our equipment so we can give you the best of the best when it comes to our episodes week in, week out. We're here from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. You've been watching the Progressive Mind Show with my prominent guest from the Liberian community. Specifically, it is the Liberian Diaspora elections coming up this Saturday, and it's going to be at Ohio and the EULA. If you did never, like you said, if you never heard of EULA, now you know EULA. It is the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas, and we are glad that you hang out with us for over 2.5 hours to indulge and listen. We know that you participated in the growth and development and unity of the diaspora and the continental Africa as well. We are looking forward to seeing you this Sunday. We're going to be engaging and talking about Africa and democracy. So make a date with us. We want to look at the recent coup d'etat in Guinea as a case in point. So this coming Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. CST, make a date with us. My brother CZ Goya, campaign spokesperson for the SHIWOH MINERVA team, running for the office of EULA this coming Saturday. My pleasure having you on the show. You were really an asset to our entire community society. Let me put it that way. James K. Collian, brilliant guy. My pleasure having you. Great asset to the team that you're representing this evening. Dr. Artemus Gaye, an irreplaceable human being, period. Okay? And I'm really pleased to have you. My guest, I love you and I thank you all. To the audience, we say thank you. Love you always. Keep supporting the Progressive Minds and keep promoting and keep donating on our website, theprogressivemindshow.com. Very, very important. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. I've been your host this evening, Senna, aka Alinko, and as I stated, we shall be back this coming Sunday. Guys, really appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Sure, thank you very much.
You're welcome.